Okay, so yeah, life after college. It might seem scary and you can't plan for everything, but you can just be prepared as much as you can be. So this is an overview. It looks like a lot, but I just wanted to break it down into just different topics we're going to be covering. So just a little bit about grad school. If you're thinking about taking a gap year and like what that means for some people, preparing for a job search, which is going to be really important if that's the route that you're wanting to go on. And then just like other key things that go into preparing for life after college. And then of course the new incentive program that we're starting at the foundation, and then go from there. So what do people do after they graduate from college? It seems like it's a lot of things, but it really only comes down to like four main areas. So you're either like working in your field of, your major, your degree. You're going to grad school to continue learning and, building upon the foundation of what you started with your undergraduate degree. You're taking a gap year, and that can mean different things that we'll get into. And then continuing work at wherever you currently work. So like if you work at Quick Trip and you just want to, work your way up the ladder and just keep going with that, you can do that. And that's okay. Like people do that. So there's lots of different things within that we'll discuss. So for those of you thinking about going to grad school, who is thinking about grad school either now or like later?
I might think about it later.
Later,
Yeah, I'm thinking about it.
later. Okay. We'll get to Kira. Okay. So the main things when you're deciding on grad school is really just like, do you need to go? And then, oh, she said maybe later. Okay, great. Do you need to go? So like, is the career field that you're going into, does it require a master's degree or a doctorate degree? So like, obviously, if you're going to be a lawyer, you got to go to law school. If you're thinking about working in the business sector, you could go get your MBA. Is it required? No, but it'll give you a competitive advantage for the different types of jobs you can get and like working your way up in that area. Are you changing career fields and you need it to pivot? So let's say you just did your major right now is like sociology, and you just changed your mind and you want to do something different. So you're going to get your master's in information technology because now you're just really interested in computers. Like that's a thing too. People do that all the time. Or do you just like learning in school and you just want to keep going to school and not get out of college? People do that too. People that are just lifelong learners, and you just stay in school and you just like learning stuff. So the main thing, so once you've answered these questions and you decided like, yes, I want to go for XYZ reason, have you done your research is the other big thing. So like who, what, when, where, and how. So like who's involved in the decision-making process? Like, is it just on you? Like, do you live with a partner? Like where you have to discuss moving, like who's all involved in the decision-making process of going to graduate school? What program do you want to do? When do you want to start is always important. I took a year off before I started my grad school. So I graduated, I worked for a year, and then I was like, okay, I got a handle on things. Now I can start, going to school and working full time. So like the when is going to be important, just on your time. Where? So a lot of people do grad school at the school they do their undergrad at. But you don't always have to do that. Like if you want to move, or if there's somewhere that has a really good program that's in another state or in another city, that's important. And then how? Sometimes people do grad school full time in the classroom on campus, just like undergrad. And then other people, which obviously is more common now, you just do it online. You do online classes, or there's a hybrid and you have both in person and online. So up to you. And then a tip for that is applying for a graduate assistantship to help you with covering some of the costs of your programs. Does everyone know what the graduate assistantship is? Thumbs up, thumbs down. Thumbs
No.
up. No? Okay. So it's kind of like it's like an on-campus job, but for graduate students. So kind of like a teaching assistant, but in a different area on campus. So like, let's say you go work you're a graduate assistant in the on-campus career center, and your job is to help students when they come in with their resumes and cover letters. And then you can get that graduate assistantship. In some colleges, they have a deal to where if you get an assistantship, they'll like cover the cost of your tuition. And then the only thing you have to worry about is like housing and food and stuff. So that's always a good thing to look out for if your plan is to do grad school. Most of the time, though, that really only works in your schedule if you're doing it full time, because it's kind of like it's a second job, or just it's a job basically. So if you had a full-time job and that job and trying to go to school, it might be too much. So that's grad school. Questions, comments, concerns about grad school plans? Okay. Okay, for a gap year, which I know it sounds interesting because you hear about gap years like between high school and college, but not really so much between college and like working professionally. But gap years can look a little bit different. So, I mean, if you're privileged and, like you have the finances and resources to just not work at all for a certain amount of time, that's great. That's cool. That could be a gap year too. But for people that do need money to live and survive, these are some different options that are really great places to work and gain professional experience that people consider kind of like gap year jobs. So it's not something that you stay in forever. You only do it for a short amount of time and then you move on to your next thing after the fact. So AmeriCorps, and they're all very related in terms of like what type of things you're doing. So AmeriCorps is kind of like a big umbrella of different work that you could be doing around the world, around the nation, and it can just come in a different variety of roles. So like you can be working at a nonprofit, you can be working at a school, or like an organization that helps with like feeding the homeless, like pretty much anything. It's a very wide scope. And they have some different programs that you can find on their website to really find like the best fit for you and like what you want to do and like what kind of time commitment you want to put in for that. Because it doesn't have to be full time. Some of them are part-time options, or it's like it's a 6-month position that's full time. So you can really kind of play around with like what you want to do and how long, with just general AmeriCorps. And then City Year. City Year is a program for helping students and schools succeed. So it mainly is going to be you working with students at, I believe it's like elementary, middle, or high school level, just depending on like where they need the most support, and just helping students with any sort of things that they might be going through. So they might need like extra math tutoring after school, or they're having behavioral issues in the classroom, and it's kind of like, they just need somebody to be there to talk through their feelings before they lash out at school in the middle of the day. So different things like that. Peace Corps, which I think is probably the most popular one that people hear about. So this one is going to be like teaching, or like you get to travel, like you can travel to Zimbabwe and teach classes in English to the middle schoolers there, like something really specific that allows you to travel and like do something that helps with like a greater impact in the world. And then these are some different areas that you can find different opportunities in if there was something specific you were looking for. So like this agriculture, economic development, those sorts of things. And then last but not least, my personal favorite, College Advising Corps. So I used to work with College Advising Corps for 3 years before I came to work here. So it's increasing the number of low income, first generation, and underrepresented students who enter and complete college. So basically I just help students with like college applications, doing the FAFSA, what do you want to major in, what school do you want to go to, like all that kind of stuff, just helping them go from high schoolers to college students. And then you kind of hand them off after that, and you just start working on the next group of students each year. So really great programs. Like they all involve helping other people in some sort of way. They all have similar benefits as well. So there's a living allowance. The education award is probably the biggest benefit. So last time I heard, it was maybe like $6,500 that you're able to use to either pay down your existing student loans Or if you are going to grad school, you can use that for paying like your future student expenses. And then that award is usually given, it's a 2-year commitment. I believe in 1 year, if you only do 1 year, I believe you get half of it. And if you do 2 years, then you get the full 6,000, whatever that it is right now. There's loan deferment, professional development. There's lots of alumni, people that used to work there that like me, I would be considered a college advising corps alumni. They'll help you with relocating. Some of them do. I think just AmeriCorps does. Travel costs will go for the Peace Corps. So when you are traveling to wherever you're going, like you don't have to worry about paying for that trip. Medical, dental insurance, and then just making an overall impact on another person. So these are other kind of things you can do as like a gap year, where you're still working and you're still gaining experience. It just might not be like this is the thing that I want to do with my life forever. So questions about gap years or any of these programs? No. Okay,
No.
cool. And then just job prep. So these are the big things, like your resume, your cover letter, your LinkedIn, and then your portfolio. So if you're in a major that you have different projects and like things that you've worked on that you want your future employer to know about and to see, like, hey, like I can absolutely do this kind of work in this project, then I think a portfolio is a great way to showcase that. Outside of your resume, where it's like a bullet point, like, hey, I worked on this type of project, but your portfolio is like, here is the project, like, or a screenshot of it or something like that. So I'd say these are like your 4 main things, or just 3, optional 4, with preparing for your job search. As long as you have these things like updated and ready to go, then you should be good to go. And then I can help with all these things. Any of the other UA Foundation staff, your career center on campus, friends, family, whoever, just always have a second pair of eyes on whatever it is that you are working on. And like after you update it, just say, hey, can you look at this for me real fast? Tell me what you think, give me some feedback. Then that'll be helpful for you just to get some feedback and see if there's anything you can improve upon. Because it's always you're going to have to do this all throughout your life, unless you stay at the same job forever until you retire, which is very unlikely these days. Like you're going to have to do this often. So might as well start now in your senior year before you graduate, have it ready to go, send it off, and you're good. Job searching. So, I mean, you can look and search everywhere. I would recommend that. Most college campuses have Handshake. I don't know if all of them do, but I know a good chunk of them definitely have Handshake, where you can go on there and it's jobs specifically for the college students that are at your college campus. Job fairs that are on campus, networking events, using LinkedIn. If you want to stay in the city that you're living in, to check like different local sites that they have there. If you want to come back to Kansas City, there's lots of like Kansas City Jobs, Nonprofit Connect, lots of places to look for Kansas City. But if you want to stay where you're at, then like definitely check any local job boards or job sites. And then just search like, just companies that you like to work for. Like if you use Lyft and Uber a lot, go on Uber and Lyft's website and see like what kind of jobs they're hiring for and like what skill sets that you need for those jobs, and if you have those skills readily available and handy. Because some of them, some of those companies might offer really good benefits and have really good positions and salary ranges that might interest you. So it's always good to just check different companies that you like to work for. And then just apply yourself. Apply for jobs that you'd be good at. Like, hey, I got 3 out of the 4 things that they're asking for, and that's good enough for me, and you should just go for it. Anything that sounds interesting to you that you would want to if you're willing to learn more about. And then researching the company benefits is always a big deal. So like, you don't want to be stuck in a position to where like you don't have any insurance and like there's no retirement plan and like there's, you get 4 days off a year because that's not enough. Like, what am I going to do with 4 days? So just always research your company benefits, which should be public knowledge on their website. Exactly. Just what am I going to do with that, Kira? And then just see if you know someone that might work. So back to like the company that you like to work for, see if you know someone that might work there that you can kind of get like some insight on, or do They call them like informational interviews, which is like a very formal title, but if you know someone that works there, you just send them a message like, hey, would you like to, have coffee or like have a real quick chat on Zoom? I just want to learn more about what you do in your company culture. Then like it can be very informal. It doesn't have to be a super formal process. But just see if you know anyone that works there and just ask them if they like it, how it goes, those sorts of things. Use your friends too. Like if you have friends that have already secured jobs or someone that graduated last year that's working now this year, like, hey, how do you like your job? Are y'all hiring? And just kind of start that conversation and go from there. Because it sounds really scary, but like once you kind of break it into these different little chunks of like places to look and things to look out for, it's not as crazy as it seems. Questions on job searching or comments?
No.
Okay. Then using LinkedIn. So I follow this girl, Sanea. I follow her on Instagram. She's an influencer, but she focuses on like finances and budgeting and like finding a job that makes a lot of money is like her whole brand online. So she has a pivot to well-paid guide that's on her website. And it's like 5 pages. It's pretty short. But it just has some different ideas and things to kind of like note and look out for if you are wanting to, find a job that pays a lot of money. So this is one page from her guide that I thought was really helpful with like using LinkedIn to its full potential. So like making sure if you put that you're open to work so people know to come and find you, and that you're looking for a job, changing your headline and your title to something that is like your future job of like what you're looking for, like where your skills are aligned, adding skills to your actual LinkedIn profile. So this is something that I had to stop and go do. I think the limit is 50, which sounds like a lot, but like once you log onto LinkedIn and you start putting them in there, you're like, oh yeah, I can do this, I can do that. And then like it'll hit 50 before you know it. Asking for recommendations from your coworkers. So that's something that might come a little bit later since you all are college students, but maybe you might have a professor or someone on campus that can write a nice recommendation like, oh yeah, I worked with Kiera on a project and she did really well and it was great, and she'd be an asset to anyone's company. Small, simple, doesn't have to be a big deal. And then connecting with 5 to 7 people with jobs you want per day, which sounds like a lot. I haven't tried this one personally, but if you feel like you have some time to do that, then I definitely say like go for it and try it out. And then her website is flynanced.com. So she's a really, really cool person to follow on like Instagram. And she's just always giving tips about her first job out of college. She was making like $48,000. And then now she makes like $300,000 a year, like something crazy. She posted her paycheck and one of her paychecks was like $15,000. Like it was ridiculous. So she's just very like honest and transparent. Like this is how I went from this to that, and here's how you can too. So highly recommend, following financial influencers because sometimes they actually do have good things to say. So yeah, going off of that as well. So like resources. So one of the resources that I think people kind of forget about or don't count as an actual resource is your network. Like who can you go to for help? Where can you go for help? Of course, I put Us First, the foundation. So you have a network of like 677 UA alumni, and those, they're working in jobs in different places, in different cities, different type of like career fields. So I would definitely say like start with us as part of your network when you're thinking about jobs and like where to go and where to look. HEMP is another program. So it's the Hellsberg entrepreneurial mentoring program. So it was started by the Hellsberg family, which started all the things that we're involved in now. And they have a network of like 6,000 people that have gone through this mentoring program that are all successful business owners. So we can get you connected with them to get connected with the 6,000 people that they have in their network. to help you with finding a job and like getting out there. Like, hey, you know, we have a UA alumni, they just graduated from this school with this degree program, looking for this kind of job, and we can send that out for you and get you hooked up with these people. Then other obvious things, the Career Center, your professors, people on campus, friends, family, people on LinkedIn that you connected with. If you're in any clubs, any people that are, you know, other club members, organization members. I put academic college alumni because I know, at least at K-State, they had like College of Business alumni mentoring day, or like College of Engineering alumni back on campus homecoming or whatever. So like if you're in a specific sort of academic college at your school where they have a lot of alumni events, to definitely use that to network and like meet people. And then mentors, and, you know, just literally anyone that you could ask for help, you should ask for help and let them know what you're looking for. And because you never know like who knows who, or who can connect you with what. So I'd say use everybody that you know and let them know, hey, I'm about to graduate and I'm looking for a job. What do you know? How can you help me? And then go from there. Questions about like networking and using your network, or comments?
No.
Okay. Then just other life things. I wanted to keep this part brief because there's so much that we can go down a rabbit hole of like other things that could possibly happen after graduation. So I mean, finances are a big deal. I definitely say start preparing now for like, you know, like putting together a budget and starting to think about like, you know, do I need a new car? You know, if I'm going to be moving from off campus to an apartment, like what kind of rent can I afford? Like just really start thinking about your finances, especially if you do secure a job and you kind of know what your salary is going to be. It's going to be helpful to like plan that out in advance, just so you're not like, oh, you know, I just got this $1,500 a month apartment and I can't afford that anymore because my job isn't the salary that I thought it was going to be. So just try to plan around things like that, and not to jump to the $1,500 rent. If you could start out with maybe like the 700 or 800 first and then work your way up one day. And then working full time, which I think is you don't know what it's going to be like until you do it and you start it. But I think just kind of like mentally preparing yourself to be either in an office or, you know, hybrid environment, whatever, from, you know, 8 to 5 or 9 to 5 and Monday through Friday. And it's like, this is the work week. And I have the Saturday and Sunday to myself, and I have 5 o'clock to whenever I go to sleep to myself on a daily basis. So really just thinking about like how your lifestyle and like daily routine is going to change with working full time, and just kind of like mentally prepare to like, you're going to have way less time to just be hanging out and seeing people on campus and stopping in at the quad and stuff like that. Relationships, and I meant this is kind of like your friendships and your relationships and like relationships with your family members and like parents and all that kind of things, and just kind of making sure that you are making time for that. I think a lot of people don't realize until you're in it, that once you graduate from college, like college is so easy because everyone lives on campus and it's like, oh yeah, I'm about to just go to so-and-so's dorm and they just live right over there and I can just walk to their dorm and just go hang out with my friends, versus, you know, when you're working a job and people move to different cities after graduation, it's like, well, darn, like I haven't seen my friend in like 4 months, like because they're working and I'm working and all this other stuff. So I think just kind of like just thinking about maintaining your relationship. So everyone that you're friends with now, you know, making sure you have their phone numbers and like you're connected with them on social media, on LinkedIn, and, you know, connected in some kind of way, because you might not see them again or see them as often as you would have like on a college campus. So that's just something to keep in mind as well. And then last but not least, self-care. It's going to be different. Self-care looks a lot different. You know, getting your, I guess we're all ladies here, getting your nails done, getting your hair done, you know, eyebrows, all that fun stuff, you know, just having that ties into the finances. You got a budget for it, but then also like, if that's your way of taking care of yourself and that's how you like to treat yourself, is by, you know, maintaining your appearance and those sorts of things, like just making sure that you take time to do those things. Cause I think like, it's not something that you forget about, But like once you start working, it's something that you can easily kind of start pushing off to the side. Like, oh, if I'm at work Monday through Friday, I'm tired after work, I just want to take a nap, but I got to cook dinner and I got to go to the gym. And then my friend wants to hang out. And then maybe you have a, a partner, your partner wants to spend time with you and quality time. And you got Saturday and Sunday, and that's like the only time you got to clean the house, take your car for a car wash. You got laundry to do, like stuff just starts piling up. So you always just have to remember to take time for yourself and like whatever makes you happy and put that into the self-care. If it's watching Netflix for 4 hours straight, that's okay. Take a 4-hour time block in a time that you don't have other things happening, and do that if that makes you happy and that's your self-care. So these are just some other life things. Questions, comments, concerns on like other things that can come up or things that you might be concerned about that doesn't pertain to like working after college? No? Okay. Okay, and then the incentive, why we're kind of sort of here, just learning about this new program. So it's going to be a new thing that we're starting this year. So $250, and it's an incentive for alumni that graduate college and then secure full-time jobs in their desired career field, which may or may not be what your major's in, but as long as it's what you're looking for, then that's great. Oh, wait, sorry. Oh, Kiara said financial literacy. Okay, sorry. Let's back up so I don't miss it. Okay, so as part of like your finances and financial literacy, I know it's like budgeting and all that stuff, like it seems kind of scary, but there's lots of different methods that are out there for you that you just have to find the one that works the best for you. So like with budgeting, like if you're one of those people where it's like you need every single dollar accounted for, and like I'm spending this much on groceries and gas and fun and food and whatever, then you can do that. Or if you're a person that's kind of like, I just want to allot this amount of money to my bills, this amount of money to my fun money, and then this much I'm gonna try to save or pay down my loans. Like, the more of like a loose general outline sort of budget. Like you really just have to find what works for you when it comes to finances and like financial literacy. I think too, like just doing research. Like I spent a lot of time just on YouTube, on TikTok sometimes, because sometimes people on TikTok, they be lying and they say they make this much, and no one really knows, so I don't trust them as often. But then looking at different like financial websites, like NerdWallet is really popular, or The Balance. So just finding different financial websites that have lots of different resources and articles about like credit and paying down debt and budgeting and all that kind of stuff. And books too, like getting books about finances are really helpful. Like I've spent like, when 2020 happened, I just had all that free time and I was like, okay, this is going to be the year that I get my money together, and I'm like figuring things out. So like I bought different financial books and started doing lots of reading, and like I went to financial webinars and stuff like that, just to really get better about like my finances and how I was managing my money. So it really just comes down to research. And I have a link for that. I'll drop it in the chat in a second. So yeah. Other questions and things about this before, because I don't want to miss anybody's questions. Okay. All right, so to the incentive. So yeah, $250. It's a survey that you take that just says what your plans are after graduation. The incentive is if you have secured a full-time position. We would still love to know, like if you're planning on going to grad school, or if you're doing like the gap year option, those sorts of things, that's still great. Especially if you're going to grad school, like if you secure a job after grad school, you can still get the incentive after that. So it's there. You can just fill out a survey, which I will send out after this meeting so everyone has it. If you've secured a job, you can fill it out now, which March is still a little bit early, but some people get secured jobs early. So a key thing too with the incentive, Just some different ideas of like what you could use it for. Obviously, like I can't tell you what you can use the money for, or what you should use it for, but these are just some different ideas. So if you're moving, if you're relocating, if you need office supplies, so like sometimes different offices don't have pens and pencils, or like maybe you have a favorite color and you want to have all your pens and notebooks and stuff all the same color, something like that you can do. Professional clothing, I'd say, is a big one, just because as a college student, you know, like you're just wearing t-shirt and jeans and sweatpants and all that stuff for like 4 years or 5 years. And then now it's time you got to wear business casual. Like who wants to do that? So you can use that money for that as well. Just buying, you know, blouses and shirts and pants, and jewelry is always something people forget, but definitely buying like different earrings and neck pieces. I don't have any jewelry on. I'm really bad with that actually, but other people are better at that than me. So definitely if you're that person, then do that. So and this is within 6 months of graduation. So you have, if you graduate this May, until like November to find and secure a job within 6 months after graduation. So that's the deal. And as of right now, it's just for BAs, and then or BA bachelor's degrees and then master's degrees. So we might eventually move on to associate's degrees as well, and then licenses and certifications, but just for now, bachelor's and master's. So questions about the new incentive program? Okay.
I don't know if I didn't hear you say it, but how do I access this? You know, I just recently graduated and I do have this. Um,
I'm gonna
and I'm
send
sorry
it.
I'm late. I'm sorry I'm late. I got on here late, but I do want to say hi and hi to everybody else too.
Hey, Sydney.
Hey.
But yeah, you're fine. So I'm gonna send it out via email. I can put it in the chat right now too, and then via email also to everybody that didn't attend. But yeah. Other questions? Oh, wait. Okay. And then in conclusion, so you can't plan everything, but just have like a general plan of like what you want to do and what you hope to, you know, for your life to go a certain way. That's like the best place you can start, is just having a general plan. Also, the definition of success looks different for everybody, so don't feel pressured if you're not like, you know, 1, 2, 3, ABC, job, life, marriage, kids, blah blah blah. You know, like everything in between is up to you. So don't feel like you have to go with a certain type of lifestyle to please other people. Like it's whatever you think is successful in your mind is what matters the most. So that's my tip for life. And then yeah, just any other like final thoughts, questions?